Hey everyone, this is the Spoon Dude back with the next part of my customizing process. Join me as I customize the Spider-Man No Way Home Final Suit Spider-Man. For the previous part, check out the link in the description below. The first thing I'm doing here after kit bashing is using nail polish remover, aka acetone, to strip off the paint off the original figure. This way I get just the raw plastic, and the only paint that'll be on the surface will be my paint, which should be helpful for reducing paint rub down the road. This is especially important with the arms, since I'm using the arms that I had used for another custom. There's a bunch of acrylic paint that I put on there that really needs to go away. If I didn't use acetone to remove the paint on this figure, especially on the arms, I'd end up having just like thick layers of caked up paint that would probably rub off pretty easily. Acetone is good for removing paint off figures, but it should always be kept in mind that acetone can damage plastic when you use too much. You'll notice in my zeal to remove the paint off the arms, I kind of smoothed out the texture there since I may have applied just a little bit too much acetone. I want to make sure I warn anyone who hasn't worked with acetone before, be sure to work in a well-ventilated area, wear gloves, and maybe even a mask, since it smells pretty wicked and I doubt it's good to breathe in. After stripping off the paint of the figure, I also took the opportunity to improve the articulation of the figure some. Oddly enough, even though it comes from Mafex, who makes some pretty dang articulated action figures, the Far From Home Spider-Man has some weird limitations. One notable limitation comes in his ab crunch, where he doesn't really bend forward or backwards as much as you'd want. I popped the figure apart and used my X-Acto blade to create a wider opening around the socket, allowing for more room for the torso to bend down. These cuts are pretty shallow and just go around the edge of the socket. I'm not widening the actual hole where the ball joint sits. I'm just creating more room around that socket so that the figure can move around more. I did this for both the upper and lower torso joints, and you can see that the end result is that he actually bends quite a bit further than he originally did. I also cut some plastic at the hips, letting him have a wider split. Once I'm done with that, it's time to get rid of some of the details that I need to re-sculpt. The raised banding on the arms really needed to go. As I said in the previous part of the video, the final suit in Spider-Man No Way Home has the red going continuously through the arms, not interrupted by any of that techie black banding that was on the Spider-Man Homecoming design. I get rid of these details using my X-Acto blade, just being very careful that I cut just the details I don't need. And using my X-Acto blade, I trimmed down a little bit further, kind of creating a bit of a channel that I will then later fill in with my sculpt to have it be all flush and smooth. I also rid the figure of his logos. Again, I used the X-Acto blade to shear off the plastic. On the back logo in particular, I also used my Dremel tool. Using a drill bit with a sandpaper on it, I'm able to smooth out the area on the back where I had cut off the logo, helping it to look a lot smoother and less choppy. The Dremel tool is something I only got recently for a different project, but it's quite handy for these kind of things. It can be used to drill into things as well as smooth things over in a cleaner way than an X-Acto blade alone could. From here on out, the figure was ready for some sculpting, which we'll of course cover in the next part. So thanks for watching, commenting, and subscribing. Stay tuned for the next part as I continue making my Spider-Man No Way Home custom.